Um, on the other side of the story, we have Jean and the rest of the X-Men. They go save Orcus.
Whoa, what?
Jean
Team two
is
is saving Orcus? Now, what is.
Jean Grey is Jean Grey, and she is a person who is very like caring, and she wants to have like just the best in people. So she leads the mission with Iceman to go and save an Orcus station. This, of course, gets wind to the council, and she
Not
comes to
Iceman
meet
going to
them.
jail, damn.
Well, that's her. She's his hag. He's gonna follow her. And so, she goes to the council to kind of explain why they did this, and all right, everybody. Hello, hello. Welcome back. I am Tilda Johnson, aka the Deadly Nightshade.
Ooh, okay, and I am Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. And welcome to another relaunch.
Oh, welcome. That's nice, Johnny Storm. He's been having some good times in that Fantastic Four. Excuse me. I was meant to say Fantastic Four book that's going on.
Tried it. Anyway, yes, he did have some really great moments. The last issue was like his focus issue, and it was really cool. Really cool stuff with his powers. If anybody's out there reading it, definitely go pick it up. I think it's really fun, really good book. One of the villains actually was like called him on his bluff, and like he's Human Torch, he's got fire powers, so he can't really like burn people. So this villain was like, "You're not gonna hurt me. Like you're a hero. All you ever talk about is how like you can control your fire within like a hair's breadth and whatever. So like, what you gonna do?" And he would like
Yeah.
put all this fire around him, and he was like, "You're not gonna burn me." So like the dude ended up beating him up. It was a good issue. I
That's
love
why
a
you
villain that's
gotta
gonna
be
clock
like a
you with
little.
your power.
I was gonna say that's why you gotta be like an anti-hero who like isn't there for Moon Knight. He would never have that issue because they know. Oh, he's gonna.
Yeah, Johnny need to get a little stomped from that dude.
Mhm.
But anyway, how are you?
Um, I'm doing all right. I have been transitioning. Just so everybody knows, I like to go to the gym, but I typically go in the mornings. I'm like very much an early bird. I love to be up. I'm up at like 5 a.m. Do my stuff, get things run. However, it's been the new year, so you have a lot of people. Their New Year's resolutions have been to get into the gym. I am not someone who is like against people trying to get into fitness or like find their space in that area. So I move. Like I'm gonna get out your way. Like do what you gotta do. I get it. I'm gonna be there. And so as a result, more people have been in the morning, and so I've been trying to transition to working out in the evening, and my body is not having it. It is very much like you ain't never done this before. I don't know why you picked today to do it. It's like I be tired a lot now. I'm like so it's like, oh, okay. But again, I just gotta last maybe like 2 more weeks, and then a lot of people gonna stop coming. And I can go back to
I am that person
but
that's gonna stop coming because I've been like consistently going since the new year started. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go be in these people way who always there. But
yeah, and it's fine. And again, it's fine. Like I get it. I was there at one time too. Like new, got to figure out how things work. I'm gonna move. Like I'm gonna change my schedule for you. That's cool.
appreciate that.
But I know that after, especially after Martin Luther King Jr. weekend, that's gonna happen. And then
I may miss a week.
like a lot of people gonna miss a week after that, and then it's gonna kind of be like, okay, well, I didn't mind missing that week, so I'm gonna miss another week, and then that's just gonna continue on, and it'll be back to like a normal time, and I'll go back in the mornings.
I'm gonna do my best to try to prove you wrong. You probably
Okay,
gonna be
I
right,
look.
but
I
I'm gonna
hope
do
you
my
do.
best.
I hope you do. I look for again. Like I want everyone who has set a goal to accomplish it. If your thing is to go to the gym, go to the gym. Have a good time. You'll be one of the people who's still there when I go back to in the morning. And that's a good thing.
I love
So,
that.
how are
Um,
you?
I'm good. I'm good. Working. New year. Super excited
Mm,
for. getting into a lot of stuff this year. I really want to get more into cosplay. I really loved the
Mm.
Bishop cosplay that I did at LA
It
Comic
looks really
Con.
good. Yes, yes,
I
yes.
really want to try to do Shola. I really want to do his Genoshan costume. And I really want
Yeah,
to
that's the high costume
do
with the asymmetrical sleeve.
the asymmetrical sleeve. Yeah.
That's a high costume. I'm into that. Yes.
Yeah. And I also want to do Exodus. I don't know if I can pull that one off because I'm not shaving my beard. Sorry, y'all. I'm not cute without it.
I mean, I think you could be an Exodus with the beard. That's not a problem. But I would support that. You know, I'm a big fan of his costume. The little like
The little.
wings, your thing. Yeah, I'm all about that.
Actually, I hate those things. I think they're very like ornamental. They're fun, when he's trying to gag the girls with a look. But
I
like
think
they don't serve a purpose.
I think they work in his whole like holy warrior
That's why I don't
phase.
need it.
No, I'm a fan. I'm sorry. Him and Hope, I like it.
Don't. But I do think if I cosplayed it, I'd like try to figure out how to make
Mhm.
those and
God.
like make my face red and all that. Shout out to
That
him.
would actually be really cool.
And
You should do
Sinister.
that. Oh, I
I
saw
don't know
like
what
the
he.
big cover where he had like on the robe or something like that.
Yeah, he don't like Sinister. So if Sinister is taking over like this, I know he's got to come out and take him out. So
That's true.
I don't know if I'm tapping in for Sins of Sinister, but we'll
I
see.
got
The X-Men books, the X-Men books are really coming into a
X-Men's
head.
good. Year two, taking it.
We'll
X-Men
talk about
Red,
that later.
we will. That's fine.
I don't know if they're taking it. They're taking something. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started into these updates of the week. Not too much going on, but we did want to first congratulate Angela Bassett on winning a Golden Globe for Best Supporting
Yes,
Actress
yes, yes.
as Queen Romanda in Wakanda Forever. And I just want to say, wow. Like, I mean, she ate the
Yes.
performance, so
Big slay.
was
Big
not
slay.
shocked
It
that
was
she won.
the performance was beautiful. It was like a great rendering, like a great achievement for her to be like the first MCU actress to win a Golden Globe or like really any type of acting award. I think that's what happens when you like just really put the stories first. So shout out to them and that entire crew. It was a beautiful movie. It was deserved. They did
Truly.
the awards circuit this year. I don't know if people know, but like I'm really into like movies and films. I have been since I was a child, and whenever it's time for like Globes, Emmys, Oscars, SAGs, all that, like I am all in. And the campaign trails, I watch all the interviews and things like that. Angela's been doing a fantastic job. You know, if she gets up there into the Oscars, she's going to be up against Michelle Yeoh possibly and Viola Davis possibly for Everything Everywhere All at Once and The Woman King. And they're stacking the deck with talent. And it's kind of
Wow.
like,
Queens.
it's giving me anxiety because I went like I know I can't get a three-way tie, but like I want each one of these women to win in a certain way. But it's kind of like, oh, if the other ones also don't win, I'm gonna be irritated. So it's a lot going on. Shout out to all of them though; they did fantastic work.
Yeah, those all of them deserve. Um, but we did get a Ant-Man, and speaking of more MCU stuff, but we did get the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania trailer, which I go ahead and say that like I was never super into like the Ant-Man corner of the MCU. They're like fun movies or whatever. Um, but this has got Big Daddy Kang in it, so that's where I'll
So
be.
it's interesting. I've always actually really liked the Ant Man corner. I think Ant Man, the first one, is honestly probably one of my favorite like MCU movies, origin story wise. And I really did like Ant Man and the Wasp and the Ghost and the villains and all that stuff that came out, like Wasp Suit. It honestly kind of was my favorite trilogy after. Well, if Quantumanium like keeps the momentum, which I think it will, because like you said, it's got my man in it. Um, I think it might be like
Our
my favorite trilogy after the no, but the Cap trilogy. Truly,
hmm, hmm, really.
yeah,
I didn't know like oh you got a size changing thing, I guess. That makes sense, right? Like
I do.
I know you really go up for those
Well,
kind of powers.
I do, but I don't know. I've just like really enjoyed the movies. I think they've been like I thought the first one was like a fun little heist film. The second one was like cool. This one looks really good. Kang looks good.
And Paul Rudd is great.
Paul Rudd is great. He's really likable. Ant-Man's a likable character.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just been. I've always really enjoyed. I think about the first one when he was fighting Yellow Jacket on that little train. I thought that scene was like amazing.
Oh, I love that scene. And when the train like fell over, that was great. This is making me wonder if I wonder if Paul Rudd kind of like really boosted the Ant-Man like franchise for Marvel, because I mean Hank Pym.
That's not a good reputation.
That's not a very good reputation at all. So I wonder if the MCU in this movie kind of really brought it back around.
I mean, I can see that. I think Scott Lang was already kind of like a popular character. I think this really helps cement it. I think the fact that he also has Cassie is just like another thing that kind of like really boosts him. Although I guess they gave Hank hope in the movie, but again, they had to give Hank hope because what else was he gonna do?
Well, we can think of some things, but we don't like those things that he do. I can think of some things, but anyway, what did you think of this trailer? I thought it was a lot of fun. Actually, no, I only thought it was fun because I thought Kang was there. There wasn't a lot of like the MCU humory, kind of stuff going on actually in the trailer. They really kind of got straight to the point of, we're going to show you this quantum realm. They're going to be trapped there, and they're really just giving you this like very mystery kind of vibe to it. It wasn't this like, MCU.
I don't even know if there was a lot of mystery. I feel like we were getting a lot in the trailer. But, the MCU does tend to put like misleading trailers out. So a lot of it could be calculated. But, they passed the law that you can sue movie studios for doing that now.
I saw this, yes.
So
because of the
MCU
Anna de Armas fans.
Absolutely. But so I don't know. MCU, you better watch it with how you cutting these trailers now. Because if I go in there and I don't see something, especially when it comes to my man, we might have a problem.
When he was getting ready to stomp Ant-Man into the ground, I was like, oh yeah, I need
the
this.
Boots. Did you see how high that boot went? That leg was. I was like, absolutely.
Also, I'm sorry, y'all. I liked what they did with MODOK in this movie. I don't think that like you saw like a really quick glimpse of him without his mask on, but you also saw this like menacing looking mask thing, and he has these arms coming off of his chair in a later scene in the trailer. But I don't know. I don't think there were too many ways that you can really do MODOK's like design other than it just being a big old head. Like what?
Yeah.
What more could you have wanted?
I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
But it's like it's MODOK. I don't know. It was fine. I don't know what you're like. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
what to say.
I don't know what
okay.
I've seen some people, you know how comic book fans can be.
No, I did see a lot of like backlash, and a lot of people were mad. I don't know. I saw some things that said they shouldn't have revealed it at all. Some people said that he should have been uglier. Some people, I was just like, I don't know. I thought it was fine. I'm here for Kang for real.
Now, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but from what I could tell from that trailer, it looks like they are MODOK, the guy in the yellow jacket from the first movie. That's who it looked like anyway to me. And didn't he like shrink really small into the quantum realm in the first movie?
Like that. Well, I think that happened to Scott, but he like managed to come back.
But Scott came back, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I should watch the first Ant-Man.
Stay with me, y'all. I think
we'll walk with you.
Yellow Jacket ends up becoming MODOK. That guy's face just looked like the actor.
I don't. The scene was so quick for me, and I felt like even when I paused it on his face, I still could it was distorted, so I couldn't really get like a good visual of what he looked like. But I thought it was nice. I thought it was fine. I thought it looked like
MODOK. I like AIM a lot. So like,
you do like AIM.
I really hope that this is going to become a resurgence for AIM to be around. I actually wouldn't mind if they used the Earth's Mightiest Heroes version of Wonder Man's story, where instead of going to Enchantress and Zemo to get his powers, it was AIM.
Mm, I could see that happening. You know, the MCU loves to ground something.
I know. Yeah. But then they could always put the magic in there because Enchantress still in the Earth's Mightiest Heroes version. She still ends up like taking him and making him a villain with him.
Well, they would have to bring Enchantress to the MCU first.
You don't think she's coming? You think they done with Asgard?
I'm kind of okay if they are.
Oh, damn. Well, don't let Love and Thunder bring you down.
I mean, honestly, it's not even just Love and Thunder. Like, out of all the 4 Thor movies, there's really only one that I like.
That's, yeah. Oh, well. Well, Ant-Man ain't like that.
You know, hey, we're moving up. So
he still got it.
That's why I said when you think about a lot of the trilogies and the stuff that have happened in the MCU, like after Captain America has always been my favorite. I ain't never really cared. Iron Man movies are fine, but you know he never really moved me like that. It was always Ant-Man who kind of had like the second best string for me. So I'm really excited for this one and to see how it all ends up. And Kang, mostly Kang, a lot of Kang, all Kang.
There it is. It's Kang. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and take a break, and then we'll come right back.
Cool. All right, everybody, welcome back. It's the comic section of the show. Now, we took a little break, so you know it feels really good to kind of get back into comics. I gotta say, I had like a really nice week of books, and I didn't actually realize like how many I had until I was just like, sidebar. That Comixology Amazon thing is still awful. I'm getting like 15 emails about like all these purchases. Like, come, please just do it as a bundle.
Like, come on. This one click thing.
Add the card, something like. Let's fix that. Let's get it together. Let me be able to buy the comics from the actual app or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
That would be nice, right? Convenient.
It was just a reminder of that, so I just had to get off my chest. But before we get into the main books of the week, we had a couple of mentions. Bloodstained Teeth #8 came out. That's like really good vampire stories. You know, I think everybody should read that. Christian Ward draws it. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur #2 continued. I'm a Moon Girl fan. You know, I've secretly come to, I don't know if it's a secret, but I've come to realize that I really do like the Science Girls a little bit. Like,
you do. You've accepted it.
I have. The Lazarus Planet #1 special came out from DC Comics. I picked that up. I actually picked this up because I thought this whole Lazarus Planet thing was like a part of Dark Crisis.
Dark Crisis is over.
I thought it was like you know how they do like an after shot or something after special. I was like, oh, let's see what this is going on. Something else after Dark Crisis. Turns out it's a whole new event.
Yeah.
But the issue itself was like really good. I was kind of surprised. I thought there was a lot of stuff. Batman was taken off the board very early, and so Robin kind of takes over. But there's a lot of different characters that appear: Power Girl, Supergirl, Swamp Thing, Poison Ivy, Blue Beetle, Cyborg, Zatanna. Everybody gets like moments to shine. The art is really great. It's dynamic. It's episodic. They're fighting like these big magical geostorms that are destroying the Earth. A bunch of heroes are involved. Just really good stuff. I was kind of blown away. I was like, oh, I'm glad this wasn't Dark Crisis. Because if I would have been something different. So I think I'm going to kind of continue to see what's going on there. And then, of course, Captain America Soldier, Symbol of Truth #9 came out this week. R.B. Silver returned on art, which was like just a beautiful sight to see. Continuing getting Sam ready for the big Cold War event that's popping up and going to connect the different Cap books. So if you've been reading Sentinel of Liberty, also stuff is going on there. Check it out. And getting into the main books of the way, first on the list is Photon #2. That's from Ewing with art from Fiorelli and Lucas Maresca. And I did pick this issue up. I'm not going to lie to you. I forgot to read it, though. I'm still a little bitter from the first issue in the Blue Marvel breakup. So I took my time.
Oh, no, you're going to get more bitter. I'm sorry to break it to you, friends, but you might end up a little bit more bitter because this issue is continue on more of Monica's story as Photon, and however we get like a blast from the past, like an alternate reality thing kind of happening. In the last issue, Monica like flew up into space 'cause she needed some air or whatever. She was kind of clear her head, flew really fast. In this issue, she wakes up. She's like not sure where she is. She's on her old boat in New Orleans, which is called the Willie Mae, which I thought was really cute. I've got a bunch of Southern. My family's like from the South, so I thought that was a great nod to that. Then she like, there's the asteroid that is hurling its way towards Earth. She spots it. She's like, I'm going to stop it. She tries to phase into it, but can't phase out. And she realizes she's stuck because of dark force energy, which I thought was a great callback to Blackout, who was like one of her villains, and her, having light powers. Dark force powers are usually the things that stop her completely. So she has problems with those. And she got stuck. The asteroid like went into the ocean, and she was afraid she was going to drown again, like the last time when she lost her powers. But then she woke up and there was a Beyonder in front of her, and she was like, oh no, I'm not dealing with this, like I'm gonna leave out of here. And this Beyonder, I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know who this is, because this is just like some random like flamboyant character who definitely looks completely different than the Beyonder that I've ever seen. And Monica was like, you look completely different. And the character kept saying like, no, I'm the Beyonder. Like, that's who I am. I have all this power. And I think we just have to accept this kind of new redesign of the character, or just kind of reimagined version of him.
What does he look like? Does he have on like a silver suit? Because there was one that just popped up in the Defenders Beyond mini with Blue Marvel.
Yes. This one is in a silver suit, but I am not sure of their gender, as it does seem fairly fluid throughout the issue. And I mean, there'd be the Beyonder, but this one also has like this like yellow blouse top thing. Honestly, the top part, if it had a train, it would be kind of hot. But they are like, keep saying that they're the Beyonder. I think we just have to kind of accept that they're just the Beyonder or whatever. And Monica ends up basically in like another dimension, and this is like a callback to when she got her powers. Like, I guess one of the people who told her like, oh, this energy that you're connected to is flooding from another dimension, and it's corroding like the lines between universes. And I guess we're supposed to kind of infer like something's wrong with her powers, that maybe she can like traverse universes with these abilities. She's having this conversation with the Beyonder. They're going back and forth. She's with these old Avengers, and they're calling her Captain Marvel. And she's like, this is weird. Like, where am I? I haven't been that in a long time. Yeah. But they're like old school Avengers, like from the 80s. Like Dr. Druid is there instead of Dr. Strange. And then they're telling her, like, oh, of course you had a problem with all this because you've had problems since like your parents died. And she's like, what? That doesn't make any sense. My parents are alive. And she flies to her parents' house, but when she opens the door, Jericho Drum walks out. And she says, hey everybody, like, what's going on? I'm her husband. I told you. In this alternate universe, she's married to Jericho Drum. Dr. For those who prefer that name.
So here's the thing about that. I actually used to ship them back in the day.
Oh, well, there you go.
When I was younger. When I was younger, and I was like really into Dr. Voodoo, obviously, like Magic Eye, cool stuff going on there. And so, do you remember the era when he became the Sorcerer Supreme?
Yes.
There was like he
had the Eye of Agamotto.
Yeah, there was a little time during that where they had said him and Monica dated. It was like 2 issues maybe. And it was very much like, oh yeah, we went on like a few dates and like it didn't work out, and they've just kind of like never mentioned it since. But I remember back then I was like, oh, that's kind of hot.
They're from New Orleans.
So, yeah. Damn. I guess this flame will fish in the sea. He can be fine. But
So there we go. But it's an
uh,
alternate universe, so
I
we
don't.
don't know. She may
Yeah,
come back to the, the 616 and then it'll be like, I don't want to follow whatever universe path I had someplace else. I want to do my own thing. Or she may
that's
think,
real.
oh, wait, no, hold on.
Yeah. I mean,
May give her some ideas.
I can't win for losing. I don't know. I'll have to think on it more. We'll see how I feel tomorrow. I'm gonna sleep on it.
Think about it. I mean, there's two of your faves with Photon. You can't really go wrong.
Yeah, I guess.
You don't like voodoo like that?
No, I do. I don't know. No, I don't know. I think about it.
I think they could be kind of hot together, the science and magic.
It would be. I don't know.
It could be kind of a serve. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna follow through, obviously, with this series because I've been enjoying it. I will say that this series had a lot more like current, or not with current, a lot more slang that was used that came out of Monaco that I thought would have felt better if she didn't say it out loud. Like she talked out loud a lot sometimes when I thought like sometimes when she would say something like, "Oh, these aren't the Avengers that I know." Like, am I tripping? That to me should
That should have been like a narration box or something for her.
Yeah. It should have been a narration box. That's what she says out loud.
Yeah. Okay. I get what you're saying. That makes sense. Okay. Well, overall, what would you rate the issue?
I'd give the issue a 3.5 out of 5. Still a solid issue. The art kind of dipped a little bit in this one. However, I'm really excited for it to continue. I want to know what's going on with her and Jericho. And her powers. I'm not really sure how I feel about her being able to like bounce dimensions.
Yeah, that's really powerful. You know how I feel once they start getting up there. That, cut it. But okay, check that out. I've been hearing a lot of really good things about the Photon book. Monica's a character that's been around for a really long time. It's dope that she gets her shine. I did buy it. It's sitting in my pile. I just haven't read it. We'll see if I do. I don't know. But anyways, next up on the list is Moon Knight number 19, and that's from Jed MacKay and Federico Sabbatini comes in to do the art of this issue. And I've been talking a lot about this book and how I've really come to like it, and Jed MacKay is just really kind of moving up there for me in terms of writing and just in this Moon Knight run. This one, it's mainly dealing with the Mark and his new ally Hunter's Moon, who's also a Fist of Khonshu, and they're just talking about how they constantly die and come back. And Mark has kind of been operating under this sense of we just don't die. Whereas Hunter's Moon is like, no, we absolutely die. And Khonshu uses his powers to bring us back and all of these things like that. It takes little parts from us. Things go wrong. We're not maybe as sane when we come back. We're not as healthy. It just deteriorates us in a different way. And so he reveals to him that because Khonshu's been in prison, his power is getting weaker. And so he told Hunter's Moon, because Hunter's Moon was killed by the assassins who were coming after Mark the last time. And so he says, when Khonshu brought me back this time, he let me know that his power is so weak, the next time one of us dies, he's not going to be able to bring us back. And we're just going to be dead for real. So we need to find a way to free him so that doesn't happen. And I thought that was really interesting because obviously the whole death and rebirth thing has been something they brought back from Moon Knight a lot, but it's never really been based on this sense of how much power it takes for Khonshu to do it, or how much is draining for him. And then even so, we deal with the aspect of sometimes it's did he even really die? Is that just him being crazy and what actually happened in that sense? So I thought this was a nice way to kind of get all of that out of the way. We continue to see him doing things for the Midnight Mission. It really is cool to see Hunter's Moon. And then on the backside of the story, the villain that he was just fighting, Zodiac, was in prison with a therapist who used to be one of Mark's murder buddies.
Zodiac that that's fought the Avengers before?
No,
this is somebody else.
Yeah, this is the new one that he's creating for this title. And he's talking to him just about how he just war and other countries and how they do these things better. He's but America has the up and up on super villainy, and that's the business that I'm trying to get into. And so he's just kind of talking about that and how people always come after Moon Knight and the people he loves. And the issue ends with a new villain group. They got getting their guns ready and they've got pictures of all of Mark's allies out on the table. So it just continues to be like a really good read for everything that Jed MacKay is doing. Um, Building Mark's world up in a different way, building Conchu up in a different way, and just like again, I've said it before, he does a really good job at pulling a lot of those previous runs and putting them into this and making them all work and making them all fit. And he's just continuing to do that, which is great. Like highly recommended. 17 was the guest artist. His art's fine. I still prefer Capuccio's a little bit. His feels a little bit more raw and like new to the scene, so that kind of like took the issue down for me a little bit. But it was still like enjoyable. I'd give this still a solid 3.5 out of 5 for sure. And I don't know. Shout out to the Moon Knight comic because we know the show didn't really move me that much. But I hope wherever they bring him back, they start pulling some stuff from this because it's really good. So shout out. And the last book on the list is X-Men number 18, and that comes from Gerry, Duggan, and C.F. Villa, year 2. You know, this is my team. They're taking it. I continue to stand behind them and stand with them. And this issue was no different. We get the beginning, you know, we have rescued old woman Laura from the ball. She has joined on with the team now, and we got to kind of deal with the fact that we have 2 Lauras. So Sync grabs Laura, and they go see new Laura, who's hanging out with the Exterminator still, attacking vampires. So we get a nice little cameo from like that. So Jubilee and Boom Boom also in this issue. Sync and Laura decide to join up with them, and they're like, we'll help you. Once they know that they got to get to like the big nest part of it, the 2 Lauras go off by themselves, and they have just a conversation just regarding both of them being alive, how they're going to do this, what they're going to say. And I thought it was like really good. It was really tense. It felt dramatic. You feel the kind of uneasiness within the conversation. There was something that the young Laura brought up about how if something goes really bad and they both die, they're only going to bring back one of them. And I was like, oh, I didn't really even think about that. Like, really, truly, one of you is going to have a true death. And I think that was just a really interesting way. One thing I will say that I think the X-Books have done well is how they've handled resurrection and the aspect of like, even though these mutants can't die, quote unquote, they can still actually die. And they're coming up with like new ways to do that and like make them feel those effects and the weight and the heaviness of that death. So that's been really cool to see. It kind of ends off with old woman Laura telling her, we got this set, but just to let you know, I don't want to be your friend. I don't even want to hang out with you and know that you exist. And it's as simple as that. Young Laura's like, I wasn't asking you. And they go their separate ways. On the other side of the story, we have Jean and the rest of the X-Men. They go save Orcus.
Whoa, what?
Jean
Team 2 is saving Orcus? Now, what is...
Jean Grey is Jean Grey. And she is a person who is very like caring, and she wants to have like just the best in people. So she leads the mission with Iceman to go and save an Orcus station. This, of course, gets wind to the council, and she comes to meet them. Well, that's her. She's his hag. He's gonna follow her. And so, you know, she goes to the council to kind of explain why they did this, and you know, just talks about how we're the X-Men, we have to be good people, we have to continue to save and help people no matter if they hate and fear us, you know, getting a little bit of that old school thing back. It's the third thing. Beast is also there, and Beast is very much like, so not only did you save Orcus, but you also now have 2 Lauras going around because you didn't think to do your proper due diligence. Beast was kind of gagging her a little bit like, this doesn't seem to be a good idea. You making stupid moves and you need to be called out on it. Jean is very much like pushing back, like, I know what I'm doing. I don't think you're the person who needs to be telling me what I'm doing is wrong. Which I thought was which was a nice little bit. And I think they've been on a slippery slope since she was an X-Force, and they've kind of been like going down this path. And again, I think there's just this overarching storyline with Jean surrounding the council anyway. I've noticed that that's been something that's come up for her a couple of times, and just about her uneasiness about leaving, how she feels as though they're operating. There was an Infinity comic where she popped up in with Kate, and they were talking about the council and how she's missed on there. We know Fall of X is coming up. I don't know. I think something's happening there, so I'm kind of interested to see where that goes with her. The stuff with Sync, he is finally now kind of like moving out of his depression. He's been dealing with this long story about like being sad about Laura and losing the one person who he loved and who could kind of understand all the stuff he went through and the pressures of the team. She's back. She's kind of mean and nasty. He seems to love it. They in bed kissing. They hanging around. Laura looks like she's joining the team. It was a good time. It was a
Okay.
good issue. It ends off with we see Corsair in space, and it looks like he has been impregnated by the Brood, and we know that the next issue is we're going into the Brood saga crossover with Captain Marvel.
Okay, cool. I was wondering how they were going to kind of cross that over there. Um,
Yeah,
Interesting to see Corsair was the option there to kind of bring the X-Men into this Brood saga thing. I thought they were going to use Brew. Is he still around?
he is. I think. I feel like someone mentioned him recently.
Oh yeah, he became the Brood King, but I don't know what that
Yeah,
means.
I don't
I only
know.
like the Brood as villains to beat up. I don't really care for their
Yeah,
like
same.
lore. I
uh,
do love a whole.
but the issue all in all was like really good. I would give this a 4 out of 5. Great art, CFL stuff was good. Again, I thought the conversation between the Laura's was really good. I actually really enjoyed the Exterminators cameo here. I thought the dialogue was actually kind of fun. I still don't know how I feel about that team as a whole and
Mhm.
just what they're doing. I think that again, I'm a vampire guy. I love vampires. I could even kind of get into the idea of like Dash as a vampire hunter, but like I also don't know if I want her with Jubilee and Bobo and Laura.
She could always rebrand the team as her team and get new roster.
Jubilee Jubilee makes a comment about how they're thinking about using the name officially Exterminators, and she makes an offhand comment about how they might vote new members in on the gala, which I thought was like cute because even if it doesn't happen, I thought that was like something cute that they could start doing like for other teams. Like, oh, we had the gala, like who wants to join our team?
Hmm.
But I'm into the vote and all that stuff, so
I know you do. I
I
think
don't
I
know.
think that would be fun.
I don't know. I like it. But good week. Those are the books of the week. Check them out. Let us know what you guys think.
All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and move over into the AR Club of the week. And this week we watched episodes 2, 3, and 4. Also, thanks for sticking with us here. We know we took a break last week, and instead of jumping ahead through the episodes, we wanted to keep watching. Watch as many as we can before HBO Max
They
does a weird
remove
decision and
it.
takes it off. Yeah.
Crazy.
But this week we watched episodes 2, 3, and 4 of Justice League Unlimited, and I'm gonna just go ahead and already say that like this is just quality like superhero animation.
Yeah.
Um, the episode 2 was called For the Man Who Has Everything, directed by Dan Reba and written by GM DeMatteis, which like I know he's done a lot of Spider-Man stuff back in the day and is a famous comic book writer, so that's kind of cool. And this episode actually adapts Spider-Man Annual number 11, which was written by Alan Moore and drawn by Dave Gibbons. And it is the this like plant thing that they put on Superman. And the episode
Mm-hmm.
starts with Batman and Wonder Woman showing up. Batman talking about like, I just got him a gift, like I wrote him a
I
check.
know. Because it was like his birthday or something, wasn't it? And they were like trying to throw him
Yeah, it was his
a
birthday.
surprise. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
always nice to see Trinity stories. I know I give them a lot because they old and they kind of need to sit down somewhere. But it is nice when you see the three of them together.
yeah. And the plant was called the Black Mercy. That's right. And they see Superman's got the Black Mercy on him. Turns out Mongol was the one who delivered it, and
King.
maybe it was the War Saga. I don't know, but for me, Mongol is a really cool villain, and
He is. He's hot. And
he's
I
fun.
think a big part of it was the War World saga because like that kind of like I think he was always there. Like War World, it was cool. It was gonna fight. It was a big thing. But like that saga, I don't know. It was something different.
Yeah, it was something up in that because that's just too fire. And Superman, when he finally gets free of the Black Mercy, was beating his ass. Like, one
Mm-hmm.
thing about Superman, I've said this before in the show, like he is, Superman, but he will like
Mm-hmm.
he has no problem beating you up. That'll be the first thing he
He
does.
he can be nasty.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it. Um, Ultimately, of course, they end up winning and they turn the Black Mercy on Mongol. What do you think overall of that episode?
I liked it. Again, like I have said it before. I like a Superman who is gonna beat your ass a little bit, and he's not afraid to like kind of get down and dirty. So, and again, you kind of need Mongols for him. It was cool. I like to see the Trinity together, so it was nice that they would bring him gifts and we got a little stuff with them. It was cool. It was a great show.
Yes, I really like that. And then the next episode was that Kid Stuff? The
with
kids? Yes, that was Kid Stuff. And then I think the last one was the Hawk and Dove.
I thought the Hawk and Dove was the second one, and then the next one was the Power Girl one.
Oh, did I skip? Did I watch the wrong one? Oh my gosh. Well, anyway, the Hawk and Dove one was next. So the Wonder Woman teams up with Hawk and Dove, and I don't know. I'm not really into Hawk and Dove. I'm sorry.
I loved it. I love Hawk and Dove. It was beautiful. I was like, this is it. I was like, I'm here for it. I was like, I did appreciate that they used the brothers also. Like, you don't really get to see a lot of male Dawn in adaptations, which is like, I'm not gonna say it's fine. It's kind of sad because he dies, obviously. But the girl Dawn is like also a really cool character. But I just thought it was interesting that they used like the brothers in this and not the girl. But I love Hawk and Dove. I love their concept. They're also my hometown heroes because they're from DC.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, I understand why you love them. They're from the hometown support. Okay.
Hometown support. They deal with like they kind of like investigate stuff. They deal with like magic threats and things like that. Do you remember when I went back and read like the Hawk and Dove series? It was like so good, and I was so crazy. It was so crazy that I loved it because it was drawn by Rob Liefeld.
Oh,
it was like, but like, but it was like good stuff. It was like his big first major comic work. It's like the thing that put him on the map.
Wow.
Yeah, they were like, oh, this is like a guy. He's like up and coming. Let's get him on this book.
And it was Hawk and Dove.
And it was Hawk and Dove. And now look at him. Just the nastiest man you could have.
So nasty. I don't know. They've never really done anything for me. I get what they bring, like the appeal that they bring. I don't know. They never really moved me.
I don't think they've had like a good modern telling of what their story is. And I think a lot of times when you kind of get into the whole thing of like there's multiple, like someone can die and then it comes back, that gets confusing for people. You also kind of like look at them in the sense of they're connected to the agents of chaos and order. But like people, it's like a different type of brand, and people, I don't know. I think you get confusing for people. There's a lot of stuff mixed in there, but I think they're really cool characters.
In this episode, Ares basically was using everyone in this war to power up this machine called the Annihilator and causing more damage because that's all Ares likes to do. That is his point. But I did find it wild when Wonder Woman went to Hephaestus and he was like, I'm not gonna tell anybody your secrets to your armor, and she leaves, and he was like, "Call me when you want me to let it out." I was like, "That's so rude."
There is one thing about the Greek gods: they're gonna gag Diana. They are not scared of her at all.
They are not afraid of her.
And they're gonna make sure that you know that they are not afraid of her. So I always kind of like love that.
So, the episode after, I guess it was
Supergirl. Green.
I skipped ahead. Oops.
Yeah, you skipped the episode. It was. I mean, that's fine. We can talk about that one too because I remember that episode vividly. That's one of my favorites of this. But
we'll save it for next week. But I do remember the episode with with Galatea, right?
Yeah, and she looked like Power Girl.
Yeah. I wonder why I'd have to do some research on why they decided to name her Galatea instead of Power Girl. I wonder if Power Girl was busy someplace else. The one thing about DC and their like intellectual property is kind of do like more of like a library system kind of versus where Marvel you can see the character literally anywhere. But if a character was going to be focused on something, then they won't put them in anything else. So for example, Aquaman wasn't in the cartoon because they were using Aquaman. They were preparing to have him in a that's live action solo series that he was going to have. So they didn't. I think they DC's biggest thing, which is wild because the multiverse is their thing. They were like very against confusing audiences with too many of the same character in places. So I know that's why Aquaman wasn't a part of the 7 in this, because he was being checked out because he was having a live action show created. But now
they don't care. Now anybody can be anywhere, and they just someone say you just gonna deal with it. But whatever, that's their own fault.
Well, they don't care about a lot of things. So, anywho, I do know this episode was called Fear for Symmetry, and it had Green Arrow in question. Like Supergirl was having these weird dreams, and she was like connected to this Galatea clone because Cadmus cloned her. I've always found it interesting that they would go that route for her in this with cloning Supergirl, because I've always felt like cloning a Kryptonian should be a lot harder than than how they made it.
And they just be making clones of everybody. And it's also like, where's everybody getting Superman DNA from? What's going on? How y'all just be getting all this stuff so easily?
Right. And I don't know. I've always felt like the cloning route for Galatea was weird. They could have just said, I don't know, she was from another universe and they just brainwashed her or something.
She was cute in her bob. I'll give her that.
She was, and she's a full-figured woman too. So
she was giving it to you, legs and hips and body, and it was working. I enjoyed it, and seeing her and Supergirl fight, I love a cat fight. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm always go up for it. Two brawlers going at it. So sorry, I love it.
Hot stuff.
Are you enjoying this the way that you did when this was kind of coming out? Has it held up for you?
Yes. It is. I'm still like very much enjoying it. I'm still really liking the cameos. Again, I think these first few episodes have been really good. It's also really interesting to see how they've been centering a lot of stuff around like Green Arrow and kind of making him another POV character. I think he's one of those characters who a lot of people recognize as a big part of the league, even though he doesn't make it into a lot of the adaptations that they have. So it was nice that he was kind of getting his due.
It's also been interesting to me how much I think this cartoon specifically were a lot of people's first introduction to these characters. Like, I know even for myself, I had never heard of Hawk and Dove before when I was a kid. This came out in 2004. Yeah, I was 13. Yeah. Like this, I hadn't really been reading too much DC stuff.
I knew Hawk and
Dove.
But I was a big Titans guy.
Ah, okay.
So, Hawk and Dove, they were like back with the originals. Then Lilith is also coming back. She's going to be in the Power Girl backup. That's going to be happening in Action Comics. So if you guys have missed Lilith Clay, aka Omen of Teen Titans fame, she wears the go-go boots. She having the skirt. She got good hair. She's a telepath. She's like useful.
Telepath is a stretch.
Ooh, don't try it. She's a full-fledged telepath. She
could maybe guess your birthday.
Maybe. She's actually helping Power Girl in it, like she's using
making her
mind powers on the astral plane or something like that. It's going to be drawn by She's here. The mother. She's a mother. Remember when she became Mother Man?
Whoa.
Lilith is the doll. Lilith is the doll.
I don't know about that. Looking like another Jean
Grey
clone.
When she first jumped on the scene, it was actually because the Titans had went to like some club and she was a go-go dancer. And so she like just walks up to the table and she's like, "Oh, I'm a telepath. I know who all of you are. Let me help you." And it was that simple. Looked good. We loved it.
And they believed her.
She joined the team. Her and Donna was beefing for a little bit. It was hot. She came in, wow. I'm really excited for that. She was there. Like Hawk and Dove were also there around the time, a little bit later. So all them characters, I loved them.
Yeah, I didn't read a lot of that stuff until I was much older. So this was like my introduction to a lot of those characters I had never really read before, and I was way more into Marvel, like exclusively at this age too. But I think it still holds up. I love this cartoon. Yeah. It's pretty good. It's done a little damage to my favorite Green Lantern, but we'll discuss that later.
He's old. Yeah.
We'll get there, but I think he'll probably be younger in live action, so we're going to save it again. So if anything, though, this is why everyone Whenever they think of Green Lantern, they think of
They think of
John.
Jon Stewart.
So
Yeah, it helped him there.
yeah,
That
he is
extra
Green
media
Lantern.
that's popular. It really does a wonder.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, let's go ahead and take a break, and then we'll come right back.
Cool.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to the relaunch section of the show. And this week, it was on me to come up with the relaunch. And I'm gonna go ahead and just say I am relaunching ongoings. Now, people have heard me
Mm.
complain about, the state of comics right now, especially with what
Mhm.
my favorite characters are doing and where they are and all that kind of stuff. But I did look at like the landscape of like the comic book industry right now, and it feels like a lot of books aren't being launched with the intent of being an ongoing. Like everything is a 5-issue miniseries, or even if it is being kind of billed as an ongoing, like the premise isn't something that even feels like it's gonna be a perpetual premise for the character that can keep going. It's like, okay, well, once they do that, then what? Um, and
Mm.
I really want there to be an emphasis on the ongoing again. I know that both the big two are really big on trying to get that number one sales push, but I do think that certain characters, and just certain ongoings can keep going, and you can build the hype of just a new writer and a new artist coming onto a book. I don't think there's a difference between people finding out about a new number one and that's why they want to go and jump on the book versus, oh, another milestone, issue 50, start there, and then if they
Mm.
want to go
Yeah.
back and read those first 50 issues, they can. But I think that there should be a lot more emphasis put on like the ongoing, especially for Marvel, whose has
Mhm.
never like relaunched. They're doing the whole, you know, continuing the
Continuity.
story kind of thing. So I want to get back to the ongoing. They just recently announced like the Storm ongoing. Um and
Mm.
or they announced like this X-23 one is again another thing that was in the past.
I gotta say something real quick about the storm ongoing, quote unquote. Um, because I
Right.
did see that being announced as like, oh, Storm's first solo outing. It's her series, da da da. But then they did say like, oh, it's only 5 issues. I even know Betsy's book coming up is something similar. There was an interview with Teeny where she talked about how they know that they got 5 issues to start with, and like the rest will kind of just be dependent on the sales of the book. And I feel like by the time the first issue comes out, a company knows whether or not that book is going to go past 5 issues. So the storm thing is frustrating because there's this nasty lady by the name of Nicki Minaj, and she once did a rant about how when you're offered pickle juice, if you take the pickle juice, that's what they're gonna give you. Even if you know you're worth more, even if you know you deserve more, even if you know that there should be something else. If you take the pickle juice, you set the precedent that this is what you can get, and that's all they're gonna give it to. And when I look at this Storm book, it is the equivalent of taking the pickle juice to me. Because I'm sorry, I understand flashback miniseries. I understand the appeal of nostalgia. I understand the appeal of going to those different types of crowds and things like that. But in this day and age where you have this character who you kind of front as the face of your company, and you are sitting here talking about this is her first solo book, this is something new, this is something big, it's something different, and you're about to give me 80 Storm with the Mohawk, which she probably ain't gonna have no powers. It's selling me that this woman who you truly see as like the quote unquote face is your company, you're only ever going to see her in this way in the past. And there's truly no moving forward from that. And like that is really kind of annoying to me.
Yeah, it's setting this precedent that if you ever want to write a Storm who's free and wild and raging like the Storm, then we got to go 80s punk rock and go back into the past, which
Especially when, and again, like you can make the case that an X Men Red is kind of like a stealth storm solo, or that just whatever, Storm and the Brotherhood's coming out. But again, like those are things where it's like this is still set as an ensemble cast or it's set in an alternate reality. So even if her name is on the title, it's still something completely different. There's no reason why you can't really have a Storm and the Brotherhood series set in the present day and just have that billing for her to like show that yes, we are putting our foot forward with this character as who she is now and making this work and making that be something big. And instead it's like, no, actually, here's this old thing. Here's some pickle juice. I'm not taking the pickle juice.
I'm not taking the pickle juice either, which is again where this relaunch is coming from. I want us to get back to having the ongoings and giving these characters the shine that they deserve and giving them like the stories that they can keep pushing. I do think that it's still possible. Previously, I've said before that in a relaunch that I wanted like everybody don't need a book. I do think that everybody doesn't, but I do think that if you combine characters, they can make some great ongoings, or combine series into more of like it's like 3 comics in one versus it just being just one character or something. I think we could do something like that, kind of like a lot of manga or any of those kind of books like that. Like I think you can start packing a lot of stuff together if you want to like really sell, and just really get back to the ongoing. I know I feel like I sound like an old man, but I would appreciate it if we got back to it.
I think that there's like this, I don't know, it's a slippery slope when you think about like the ongoing and the fact of like, okay, yeah, we can announce this book and obviously everything from the comics is going to be about the bottom line. This is a sales business. You got to make the money on it. But it's kind of this thing where it's like just more so as a hope, where I feel like back in the day, maybe you could push a series out for a little bit longer in the hopes that it'll gain its traction and get its audience and it'll do this thing where it's like, now it's like, no, you'll get these 5 issues. By issue 1, we'll know whether or not you're going to go beyond that. And it's like, okay, a lot of people don't want to always get invested in something like that. A lot of people read comics differently these days. Some people wait via like, what's that? Marvel Unlimited. Some people do trade. So again, I think it's just that slippery slope of the comics industry as a whole, how they read comics, how they buy comics, how all of that is changing and how the industry itself isn't really moving in the best direction with it.
Yeah, we need to change this around, y'all. Let's get back to having some ongoings out there and really boosting this up. I think we can really do some stuff with the comic book industry.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll see. All right, y'all. Well, that brings us to the end of the show. Please make sure you rate and subscribe us wherever you get your podcasts. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Another Relaunch. You can email us at anotherrelaunch@gmail.com. You can watch us on YouTube at Another Relaunch TV. You can find me on most social media platforms at UncannyLZ. I tried to change my PlayStation name, but that did not work. I guess it's taken. I maybe might put an underscore in there somewhere. I don't know.
Underscore always helps.
I know. I thought about that. I might do that. We'll see. Anyway, Keenan, where can they find you?
You guys know you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Keenan Lanks with an underscore at the end. I don't know. Maybe not on Twitter for too much longer. Elon needs to get it together. This is why I need rich people to engage in rich people activities. If you bored, buy a yacht. Don't buy Twitter.
Don't buy Twitter.
Because you're messing it up. That's that.
Why not just like invest in it? Like get money that way somehow. Like why buy it yourself?
You're a super villain.
Whatever.
And
what do I know? All right, y'all. Let's get up out of here. We'll catch y'all next week.
Peace.